Okay. Okay. Yep.
Yes, we are having some participants joining in. Hello, everyone, and sorry that we opened a little bit late. It's a little bit struggle with the change in the time zone. So, hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. It should be at 11 a.m., but there's a little bit difference between the time zone right now, and it should be like 10 to 12 right now. Okay, right? Okay, so we have 16 attendees right now, and we have here our presenter, Vee, from the UCA. And today, Vee is going to talk about the role in the studio game. And we will wait for some more attendees, and then we will start in about 2 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, that's fine. I know we started a bit late, so we'll let some people come in, and hopefully they're still around. Hopefully.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for your patience. Thank you everyone. And you can say hello in the chat section, all the new attendee. So we have Ivan. Hello, Ivan. Hello, Hoa. Hello, Goma. And you can also tell us where are you from in the chat as well. Hello, Sacha.
Hi, Sasha. So we've got from Egypt and from Vietnam. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, is that all right? You can just send to, maybe you can check in your chat setting. You can choose own panelists and attendees, Ivan. So we are having lots of questions now from the new attendee. So I'll give it over to you, Vee, if you are ready.
Questions? Or should I start the presentation now?
Yeah, maybe you can just give us a little bit of introduction about yourself, what you're doing, and then you can get into the presentation.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so hello everyone. My name is Vee, and happy you've made it. Sorry about the time delay. We've got a bit of delay on our end, so that's fine. Hopefully, I'm assuming more people will trickle in, so I'll do a slow introduction. So my name is Vee, and I'm here to talk to you about the games industry as a whole. It is a very big topic. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with a lot of the studios and games that you're familiar with. It's a very popular topic globally. So technically I could spend the whole day talking about the industry, but I only have an hour. Well, I'm not sure how long I have now, but we'll see how this goes. I'll keep it short and sweet. I'll break down the talk into segments. So the first bit will be a little bit about me. I'm a new instructor at UCA, Rochester. I was hired last year, and I'll talk about a little bit what I do, how my journey as a games industry professional came about, and how I actually got into the industry. And then I can talk a little bit about the roles in the studios, and then how that links into the course that we provide at UCA Rochester. And then we'll wrap it up with some Q&As. Again, I don't know how much time we'll have for the Q&As, but we'll definitely have a segment, and I'll give you some details and emails, so you can contact me and write some emails if you so wish. So I do have a presentation, a slideshow. And I see attendees are slowly trickling in. So let me load up the slides, and at least you can see the first part of this presentation. So let's have a look, see. There we are. And let's see. Well, let me see if I can load up the chat as well so I can see. Can everyone see the my screen? Or the presentation at least. Perfect. Good stuff. All right, well, I guess I'll get this going. And yeah, all right, let's crack on. So let's have a look, see. All right, so overview, just like I mentioned before. Let me see if I can just minimize this chat a little bit. Let's put it in the corner. There we go. So instructor profile, we'll go through who I am and what I'm all about. We'll go through the game development pipeline, the roles of game studios, and the course that we provide, our brand new game design course at Rochester UCA in the UK. All right, so my journey to the industry. So my specific job role is concept artist for the games industry, games and film recently, actually. And I wish it was as simple as saying that I got a degree in concept art and I just walked into my concept artist role. However, it is a lot more complicated than that. And well, let's rewind back to when I was 16 to 18. We do something over here called A-levels. So from the age of 16 to 18, I studied psychology, design and technology, which is more of it's like a workshop for woodwork. So you make furniture, I guess. And we have a lovely topic called general studies, which you get to learn about all the general topics of the world, which is always fun. So from 16 to 18, I didn't really have much exposure to the games industry, let alone knowing what it was all about. So information was very, very limited many years ago. And because my school that I grew up in was is a science-based school, and what they tend to do is push the students into a science degree or like a law or like a typical like out of the box degree that you know that most schools or grammar schools at least would push you into. And for me, I was very creative growing up, and I ended up doing like an engineering degree, or I chose an engineering degree to go to university. And quite honestly, I never really thought of the games industry as a viable choice at all. Again, just my careers advisors, you know, sat me down and said, "What do you do?" And I was like, you know, I guess I like the sciences, I like physics. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's make you into an engineer. And I said, okay, fine. You know, social media and Facebook again was very small back then, so there wasn't much feedback from different sources. I only had my careers advisor and my teachers, and that was that. Okay. I did a year of engineering. You know, I find out a lot about myself. I found out that I could work very hard. I found out I could pass thermodynamic exams, which is always fun, but applied physics and all that fun stuff, I couldn't see as a career choice. Again, I was very creative. I like to make things, you know. So I decided to switch gears and I jumped onto a computer generated imagery degree in London, which was essentially a 3D modeling degree. So I did modeling for 4 years. I know some of you, are you familiar with 3D modeling? Yeah. CGI was the terminology back then. It was a very old school way to say 3D. So yeah, computer generated imagery is what the old timers would use for just 3D modeling. So I spent 4 years honing my craft, and coming out of it, my final year project, I was at the top of my faculty, which is great. I was even scouted by EA to join them as a junior modeler for one of their games. So that was awesome. And one would think that would have been the start of my career as a games in the games industry, but no, I actually turned down the offer from EA. In hindsight, I'm not sure if that was the best idea, because I couldn't see myself as a 3D modeler. Okay, so at this point, I actually had no clue about what my future held. I knew I could do 3D, but I didn't want to do it as a 3D career choice. So really, it would have been, what is the next step for me? And I decided I like to draw, so I decided to retrain myself as a concept artist. But again, back then, knowledge was very small. There wasn't many courses, if any. I don't think there's any courses on concept artist in the UK at least. So I picked up all the books I could find. I had YouTube tutorials, like 2-minute tutorials on how to draw faces, all that fun stuff. I bought as many books as I could in traditional art, like painting, oil painting. Studied a lot of anatomy. This kind of sums up what my friends were telling me when I made that step. So they were saying, oh, you should get 3D modeling jobs. It's easy, you know. Even back then, 3D modeling was very, very popular. But then I said, no, I definitely want to become a concept artist. And everyone was saying, this is going to be the worst decision ever, because being a self-taught artist is very hard as it is. And being a professional in it, that's a whole different ballgame. You'll find a lot of concept guys they have a fine art background, or they've had like a very intense, like, you know, art training. I never studied art growing up, ever. I actually didn't like my art teacher at all. So that's the main reason why. So many, many years later, I know I haven't aged, it's fine. The one thing I found about being self-taught is that it takes a long time. The reason being is because you don't have anyone to tell you what's good and what's bad. So you have to find out the hard way every time. So everything I was doing, I was learning the hard way. If I was doing it wrong, you know, I would go online, post it, and they say, you're doing this wrong. I've got to go back to the drawing board. And it's a rinse and repeat cycle. So it took a long time and a lot of patience as well. But I got there in the end, and my skill set grew to various disciplines. So by the end of it all, I managed, obviously had my 3D modeling background, my traditional draftsmanship got to a good level. I then taught myself digital painting, and then obviously anatomy that underlies this entire structure of this. And obviously coding and all that good stuff as well. So that, you know, that's kind of the skill set that I've grown and cultivated away from education. This is all just done from learning, teaching myself. And obviously napping is this is definitely one of the biggest skill sets you can be as a creative, which is always great. So present day, I started landing gigs in concept art roles, which is great for game projects and game development projects. And my current portfolio, it's been on the website already, but you can screenshot this or just put the link in your browser to bookmark if you want, to view all my works, my current portfolio. I've just finished a contract on a game called Cepheus Protocol by the Halcyon Winds guys over in Canada. So they're an absolutely awesome team, and this game is releasing over next month, I think. So very good timing, and absolutely fantastic game to be working on. So check out that game as well if you have time, and all that good stuff. So just a quick overview on the industry. So that was a profile about me, and just a quick snapshot on the industry as a whole. I won't spend too much time on this. It's something that's fairly common knowledge. If you hop on over to the Games Industry Biz website, the games industry 10 years ago was in a good place. The foundations has been set. A lot of professionals from many careers and sectors started investing in the games industry. We had engineers coming down. We had by scientists. We had script writers, you know, film directors. A lot of people were interested back then. Now we're seeing the fruits of their labor, and the games industry has grown into a multi-billion dollar or pound industry, and it's here to stay. Okay, you'll see this a lot, purely because there's a lot more knowledge and courses that are available. Usually courses only happen when a topic has become popular to teach or the industry has become very strong. And this is why 10 years ago, there wasn't many games courses, if any. And now there's quite a few to pick from. And I'm pretty sure all you guys in the chat have played a few games recently and have your own favorites. So the industry is here to stay, and it's extremely lucrative. There's a lot of money to be made in the industry. It's a very young sector, and especially for independent developers as well, which I'll get into a bit later. So that's the outlook. And we'll move on to the actual pipeline in itself. So a lot of you have probably seen workflow videos on YouTube, or like snapshots of, you know, modeling, or snapshots of a bit of coding. Really, it all ties into a singular pipeline. And this is something that I've created on a very, very basic level, right? So you've got your pre-production team and all the teams that come with that. You have your art departments, you've got the program department, and then quality assurance, and then and launch as well at the final end. This is a very brief snapshot of a pipeline. Pipelines are they vary depending on per project, and the best way to explain it is actually to dissect each role of these departments. And this website, the Screen Skills website, so again, you can screenshot this or this bookmark it for later, describes all the possible jobs in a game studio. And as you can see, we can, you know, we can start in any department, because I wouldn't say it's a linear pipeline, but they are interlinked. The accurate way to describe a pipeline is non-linear. Work goes back and forth between departments as they go around. But the main thing I want to illustrate here is just the sheer amount of roles and jobs that are available, okay? So we have here the production department, the technical art department, and the art department. Obviously, this is something that you can read in your own time, but I'm just trying to illustrate just the variety of roles. It's not just about 3D modeling. You know, I think when I first started out on my CGI course, it was, you know, everyone wanted to be a 3D guy. Not necessarily because they wanted to be 3D. Most people just thought that being a 3D artist was the only way into a studio. It's definitely an avenue, it's a route, but it's just a very common route. It's a very accessible route, but there are many other routes you can take into a studio. And your background will lend to that. And so some extra roles here: the animation department, the design department, which we'll get into a bit later, the art department, in technical art department. And I'm pretty sure there are subcategories as well. You know, as a concept guy, you could focus on characters, or you could focus on vehicles, or you could focus on environments. You know, there's an abundance of roles in a typical studio. And there's, yeah, even more roles. So you've got the programming department, which is probably one of the biggest departments you'll have in a studio, just because of the workload. Design department as well, and all that good stuff. So again, this is something you can check out on screenskills.com. For me, 10 years ago, I say 10, I was like 7 years ago, I didn't have this. I didn't have a map of roles I could do in a studio. I just thought 3D was, that's it. That's all you could be. So if I had this like 7 years ago, I could really sit down and look at the stuff that I'm interested in, you know. And especially starting out as well. Yeah, there's more roles as well. Just keeps on going. So audio department, production and design department. Question is, after all this, you know, you have all the roles laid out, you've got the roadmaps laid out, you have a guy talking to you on a webinar saying, you know, oh, just pick a role and go with it. The question is, how do you find your path? You know, amongst all this information, especially starting out. If I was to go back 7 years, I would have said, hey, hold up, just press pause for a second, okay? How do you know which role that do you like? Is the main question to ask. And for me, it's simple. You just build games, okay? This is the games industry. There shouldn't be any guesswork. You just build games over and over and over again. And you'll find the roles that you'll gravitate towards. And building a game is such a big endeavor. Nowadays, it's made a lot more simple with these free tools like Blender, and you've got Krita and all those fun tools that are free. Independent development is a very real thing, and you can make some pretty good content. And you'll find the roles of gravitate. Maybe you prefer coding, maybe you prefer art, maybe you prefer 3D modeling. This is the best way to go about finding a path, you know. Being informed before you take a step would save you years. So if you skip back to what I did, you know, I did everything wrong. I feel like, you know, I made decisions in my life I wasn't really informed about, you know. I just kind of did 3D because I guess it was a thing to do. Or, you know, I decided to self-teach concept art, which back then it was actually, as a bit of a suicide mission, I'm not going to lie. You know, if I'd have said if I could go back, I probably wouldn't have done it because it was such a big task at hand to teach, and the amount to teach myself as well. And I wish I had a bit more knowledge. I wish I had people kind of taking me through this and say, you know what, if you go down this path, you can do this. If you go down this path, you can do this. And this is what's suspicious. It's probably my fault. But again, there's lack of knowledge, there's lack of courses, lack of education back then as well. So things have changed dramatically. And now this kind of brings on to the course that we have built from the ground up in Rochester, UK. Okay, and this is my hometown actually. So this is where I was born and bred. And this course has one vision, and I've built the vision not just to churn out, you know, artists and coders and programmers and you go off to a AAA studio. This course is purely designed for the developer or someone that has a vision that wants to be your own director. You want to have your own games. You know, the most powerful thing about creating a game, it's your vision. You want people to enter into your world, okay? And you want to craft the experience, your audience. You want almost like a film in a way nowadays, the games are playing out. You can become the director. I would never teach a course just to be another cog in a wheel. So I think when I saw this quote by Tim Burton, it just sums it up perfectly, that visions are worth fighting for. So why you spend your life making someone else's dreams? Which is absolutely perfect, which is one of the main reasons why I became a concept artist. But had I known back then, I would have started becoming a developer, not even a concept guy, because I just love creating environments and creating a story and a scene around this. So this is what this course offers, as far as giving the student the power of choice and making the right choices. I'm going to explain more about the course with these slides as well. So we'll go just a quick overview. Now, some of this may be familiar and some of it may not be, but it's just a brief overview of what we cover over at Games Design Rochester. So the primary concern here is games design. So we actually talk about mechanics. So what makes fun, and how you can code these game mechanics using C#. We use Unity engine as the primary engine. We focus on Unity a lot. It's a very powerful engine, and it's been well supported by the industry as well. Other engines include Unreal, but the focus will be on Unity engine, as this will enhance your independent developer mindset. Whereas Unreal, you tend to need to have a team of like 10 to kind of pitch in. This engine can do it all, almost out of the box examples that you can build up upon pretty quickly. Obviously, best practices in C#. We'll be creating with code, which is a module, and the meshbot techniques. A lot of the techniques are going to be industry driven. Because I do work on contracts presently, and I just literally take the techniques from the studios and I put it into my course. It's as simple as that. You know, I'm not going to be reading a book from 5 or 10 years ago. This is a very much a relevant, it's a new course. So I've been very fortunate to be able to sculpt this course into how the industry or how present day techniques work. It's very important to understand the present day techniques, because with technology changing almost every month, if you're not up to speed, you're going to be learning something that's been made redundant, you know, and no one's going to be using that, which is going to not the best experience when you learn something that's old news. Asset creation is a big one. So whilst we focus on game design and the user experience, we also focus on the right way to create assets. Some of these programs, again, may be familiar, like Photoshop, Maya, Substance Painter, and Unity. But this is a typical nonlinear pipeline that we use. Don't worry too much if it looks a bit much, but this is something that we definitely promote during the asset creation. Being a concept guy, it wouldn't be right if I didn't have a concept module. So we definitely get into concept art. One of the main things I've noticed, especially with my current students, is some are artists and some are not. Okay, this is the nature of the game studio. Everyone has their different strengths. Do you need to be a good designer, or do you need to be a good artist to be a good designer? No, you don't. In fact, some of the best directors in Hollywood cannot draw at all. They're not artists. A person with a vision doesn't necessarily need to be able to paint pretty pictures. A person with a vision needs to be able to know his tools or their tools, and being able to craft something and be familiar with every process, and they can craft the final product. My job is it's a big role, but it's just another role in the studio pipeline. It's pre-production. I still have to talk to the script writers, the programmers, the 3D guys, and the director as well. Okay, so don't feel like if you don't have absolutely amazing concept art skills that you can't make an amazing game. That's completely false. I've seen amazing games come from the weaker eyes. That's because they've got a good idea. They've got good game mechanics, but we'll get into that a bit later. Quick overview of Maya. So I'm sure some of you are familiar with Maya. If not, that is the modeling tool that we use on our computers in the labs. Again, this is going to be pure industry-driven knowledge. I see a lot of YouTube tutorials on Maya. And I'll tell you what, 90% of those tutorials are just going to be teaching you bad habits, really bad habits. So be aware of the kind of content that you absorb. It's very important that you start off on the right foot. The one thing I learned when I was being self-taught is I was accepting a lot of bad information, and it took me many years to actually undo the bad information and learn the right habits. It's better if you just learn the right way the first time, as opposed to spending years undoing bad habits. So again, Maya is what we'll be using for modeling your assets. Obviously read topology and clean topology. I'm a big fan of clean meshes, good mesh flow, and all that good stuff. which if you don't understand, that's fine. Obviously animation as well, which I'll talk about a bit later as well. Only for time. I tend to just go on tangents. We're okay for time. All right, Substance Painter. So again, some of you may or may not know about the program, but Substance Painter is the program we use to texture your assets, or essentially paint your assets up. We'll be using different kinds of maps, depending on what style you're going for. Could be stylized, could be next gen assets. And you'll get into that program as well. So we have that all installed on our lab PCs. You'll also have access to this on your personal computers as well. And of course, everything comes together in the Unreal Unity engine. Okay, so all your assets, all your programming, all your level designs, your scripts will all come together in this engine. And this engine is powerful enough to handle some pretty decent level of detail regarding, you know, if you want to do something quite intricate with your coding, or you can start to get in the physics engine as well, which is extremely powerful, or simply just on a visual element. Visually, Unity I use quite often with my concept art, just to rough out look development sheets and color comps. This is an extremely powerful engine, so I very much enjoy using this. And let's see. There's a final element to this course, and that is technical art, which the best way to describe it is, it's not coding, and I wouldn't say it's drawing, but you can design elements of the game that relies on a node-based editor. And you can start to animate and modulate certain features. Example would be a power-up shield, and this is all inbuilt in Unity as well. So you've got the PBR shader graph, which is very powerful, and it's the equivalent of the Amplify shader editor, but this is inbuilt into Unity, so very impressive. So to wrap this up, who is this course for? Okay, so you probably just listened to me rant on about how I kind of got into the industry and what this course is all about, but in reality, how does that relate to you? So the main point for me, and what I care as a tutor for the students, is as long as you have a vision, or at least see yourself as a visionary. And when I say visionary, it doesn't have to be something groundbreaking or, you know, special or anything like that. It's more to do with just being a daydreamer, you know, being that person that just daydreams and thinks of loads of ideas and really cool things, and, you know, which I think a lot of people can do very well. I think very few people can bring those ideas and daydreams to life, to actually work at their vision, and not afraid to put in the work to see their dreams come to life, as cliche as it sounds. Personally, raw talent is fine. If you are an amazing coder, a programmer, or an artist, that's great. That's fantastic. But I don't look for talent in my students at all. For me, I can only see someone do well in the industry if I see there's traits of self-sufficiency and resourcefulness. And a person shouldn't rely on talent alone. And I know this because I did that. I relied on my talent for many years, and I didn't get any job offers at all. As soon as I put my talent to one side, I started working hard at what I needed to do. Then I started getting job offers and contracts. So talent is good, but don't let it get in the way of your progression. Someone that is just basically a sponge for information is the one that's going to play the long game. as far as going far in this industry. And the final and probably the most important point I would say is you want experience of the entire development pipeline and gain an understanding of what roles that you want to do. So again, 7 years ago when I started out, I didn't have any understanding of the pipeline. I didn't know what roles I wanted to do, and I didn't make any games. This course is one of the few courses from start to finish, you'll be making games. You'll be experiencing all the roles. You'll be becoming your own director. You'll be the 3D person and a programmer. Okay. And you can figure out yourself what roles that you want to do in the future. Okay. And it's only through making many games over and over again under tuition and guidance is what will get you in the right direction sooner rather than later. So you don't have to wait so many years before you start to get contracts and all that good stuff. So what do UCA do as a university? First and foremost, on any course, on any university course, you have to understand what the faculty is all about. Look up names, look up the tutors, do your research. If that probably be the most important thing when looking at any university. And I only say this because there's many kinds of courses that you can jump on. And if you work hard, that's great. You know, more often than not, it doesn't really matter who's providing you direction. But when it comes to an industry-based skill, it's all about, has faculty been in the industry before? Okay, or has it just been from a textbook? And there's two different schools of knowledge. And me, I don't have a vast array of, you know, lecturing backgrounds and all that, but I do have industry experience, which is absolutely worth its weight in gold. So all the years of my knowledge and experience and other artists' experience have been crammed into this course. So the one advice I would say is definitely screen, and don't be afraid to screen, you know, the kind of course that you want to get onto, because, you know, when it comes to this craft, you deserve the absolute best in quality level as well. Okay, so don't settle for less. Always make sure your tutors have worked in the industry at some point or presently working. I think I'm a rare case. I am presently working, and I'm lecturing and working at the same time. So it's a kind of like an odd mix. Most lecturers would have done it in the past and, you know, retired from the industry and then started teaching. But I feel like this course is a very like rare course in itself, that the guidance and techniques are all basically used on the industry level. The class itself, and I'll show you the actual how the class is set up in a second, but it's a relaxed learning environment. It's a fairly small class as well, and this maximizes one-to-one tutor time for rapid development skills. Big classes are fun, but when it comes to this craft, you'd want smaller classes. And I'm trying to keep the class small as well, because I know what it's like being in the corner of the classroom, no one's really paying attention to you, so you don't really study anything. So really great to have one-to-one tutor time. We have a breakout room and a place to obviously play games. We do have a tabletop gaming for those who are into D&D, and we have a D&D club as well, which is great, and it's very relaxing as well. And UCA, now for me coming into the business last year, I was blown away, because from the ground up, from the foundations upwards, it's a creative university. There isn't a law faculty, there isn't a science faculty, you know, there isn't a physics faculty. No, this is purely a creative university. You know, you're surrounded by talented students and faculty. So from the fine arts department to the costume, the actual design, where they design characters and costumes. We have the well-renowned fashion department at UCA. I think that's what UCA is most famous for, is this fashion. And obviously we have an award-winning animation department right next door to us. that we use constantly, their resources and their tutors as well. So you have a lot of daily inspiration, a lot of workshops, a lot of crossover skills. Just like what a game studio should be. The game studio is never just a game studio. It's pooling a lot of talent from other sectors. Fashion, animation, arts, the whole lot. So it's a very natural place to be as far as games development goes. And that pretty much brings on to the final page. So we have my email here, which is my, that's my concept artist email to shoot me any general questions. Now the course does have a Twitter. It's a fairly new Twitter, but if you are interested in what the actual classroom is set up and what we actually get up to, here's a snapshot of like a student work here, like an octopus head. That was done in Substance. We have a few snaps of the tabletop. And we have got a few shots of the conferences that we attend to. Obviously being in the UK, probably one of the biggest places for game development ever. You know, we're on the doorstep of many, many studios and conferences, and it's a really good atmosphere to become an industry professional because you get exposed to the whole scene. You know, it's very much a community out here developing games. And obviously to get hold of the actual website itself, just Google Games Design UCA Rochester and it will come up on the first link, and to give you a lot more step-by-step information on the course. I'll also be doing an online summer camp as well. Just shoot me an email and inquire me about that. Those are for the people who kind of want a taster before the real thing. And I'm happy to do online sessions with focus on digital painting and drawing as well. So that is pretty much that. I think I'll leave it on this page because then you'll have all the contact details. Right. Do we have any, how are we doing for time? I think we're good for time. Do we have any questions? I know I've been talking quite a lot now.
Yeah, we have two questions in the Q&A part. The first one is your voice so low, so we can just skip this one. And we got another from Jijan. Can you see it? Would you mind answering?
Oh yeah, yeah, I see it from
Okay.
D-Game. So I'm a mechanical engineer with professional training in modeling softwares like Acacia and AutoCAD. I also like gaming and I've done amateur gaming in college. Can I have a career in gaming design industry? Should I type the answer or should I just say the answer? I could answer live. Let's see. Yeah, so engineers, like I said, I've had a few engineers on this course, and yeah, engineers are creative people, especially if you like 3D. So definitely the gaming industry loves people with the 3D know-how. I find that engineers are super creative. So yeah, you'd fit just right in the gaming, the games design industry as well. So as long as you're just, the thing is about engineers, the work ethic for an engineer is extremely high anyway. So I already know that the industry will welcome you guys. So that's perfectly fine. Done. All right. I think I'll dismiss that one. Perfect. All right. So to the attendees that that made it, thanks very much. Again, apologize for the delay. And any questions, fire off some emails. Have a look at the Twitter. And yeah, hope to hear from you soon.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Vee, for the wonderful presentation. And sorry, everyone, again for the delay with the mess up with the time zone. And if you are interested in this, then you can get in touch with Vee. And otherwise, you can always spare some time to join any other webinar from the IoT. Okay. So have a good day, everyone, and thank you, Vee, for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.